Good morning. In this video, I want to show you a tutorial about the introduction to web programming part. First, let's see the basic structure of the browser server application. Based on this title, you can see that this kind of application is composed of two main parts. The first part is browser part, and the second part is the server part. In general, the user needs to use the web browser to submit the request to the web server, and the web server can respond to the content request from the browser. So what is the web server? And the web server has two main functionality. The first one, it can receive the request from the web client and response to the web client. A second one is that the web server can be treated as a JSP or servlet container. For example, you can treat it as the JSP and the servlet is equal. So because the web server already can transfer the JSP to servlet. So there's no difference between this part. But what is the servlet? You can treat it as a backend program to handle some request from the client and do some stuff with this request, and for example, like retrieve some data information from the database and get result from the database. Also, the web server has the functionality to change the dynamic web pages to the static web pages. So even for the JSP, you can treat it as dynamic web pages, and but the important stuff is the web server can change the dynamic web pages into static web pages. So let's go to detail how the web container handle request. So based on the picture one, and if the user click the URL, for example, this is the URL, so it's your project name, and this is the servlet name. So it means that this URL will link to a servlet instead of the static web pages. And then the Tomcat can automatically detect the request content. The request content is a servlet and create two objects. The first one is request and second one is response. Also, HTTP server request and the HTTP server response is a subclass of the request and response. And what's next? The Tomcat can find the servlet by the input URL based on the URL and servlet map information. So for this project, we can see under the web info folder, and we have the web.xml. And we click it, we can find all the servlet and servlet map information. And this is the URL pattern. And based on this URL pattern, you can find the servlet name. Then, based on servlet name, you can find the servlet class information. We can see it a little later for some more details. And for the picture 4, and a Tomcat will call the service method in the servlet. So this part is called behind the screen. You can see from the from this web application. But also, since we all know that, so usually we have two main kinds of the request. The first one is to get, and second one is post. If you want to get more information, you can Google it to see what's the difference between the get and post informations, and what's the advantage and disadvantage for both method. And then the service method can call the to get method or to post method. In this web application, I always use the post method to transfer some data from the front part to the backend part. Then what's next? So the do get method will generate dynamic pages and stuff the page into the response object. But please remember that the container still has a reference to the response object. And at last, the Tomcat will transfer the response object to the HTTP response and show the result in the client. Then the request and response object were destroyed. S3 also destroyed. So this is the whole progress how a request is submitted into the web server, and the web server responds to the request and shows the result to the client. So the next step, I'll show you how to create a JSP file, and based on this regex the JSP, and you can. The first thing is you should have this part, so you can call it as directive in the JSP. So what's the directive in the directive? So it means that the directive can provide the directions and the instruction to the container and telling it how to handle container, how to contain different parts of the JSP processing. For example, the language is Java, so it means that you can write some Java languages in the JSP file, and the JSP can recognize this part is the JavaScript, and no, this part is the Java program part. And also this is the tag lab. It means that you can use the fundamental tab in the JSP. So here in the action, and we can have the URL tag, and the value is here. Then we can see the visualization part of the regex the JSP. Let's run it. So we have the header is the register, and we have three text box, and we also have the register button, and we can see here we have the form tag, and it has 1, 2, 3, 4. It has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It has 5 inputs. The first one is the method, and the value is registered, and second one is the user, and the type is text, and it has the name is username, and the third one is the type is password. Password, it means that you cannot see the information when you type the information, so you can have a detailed idea of the input tag, and also you can check the different types of the input tag, and then if the tab is submitted, you can if you click it, it will use this post method to send all the information to this URL. So far the JSP file is done. So But if we click the reject button, host information will transfer to the backend part. So then we need to use the user servlet reject. So this servlet can handle all the information request from the URL, and if we want to get all the parameter of the three values, and we can use the request object. In the request object, we have the get parameter map, and then the get parameter map will install the method, username, the password, email as the key set, and then the value is just the following information. You just type it in the text box. Then the next, we create a list to install all the key set, and then we can create a user object. So what's a user object? So we can see here. A user object is just create an object to install all the information of the user. The user object is composed of the three parts. The first part is username, second part is password, the third part is email, and you can have the set and the get method of different parts of the user. And then we can use the form to set all the information, all the values of different parameters. Then after we have the form object, and we need to ingest the user information into the database, and then we call the user service .regest. So let's go to details of the user service regest. And in the user services, we have the regest function and login function, and also we can have the finder function. So let's go to the regest first. Then we need to check the username is already there or not. If it's not, and we should call the add method to add this information into the database. So we use the user DOM. We use the user DOM class to do the functionality in the database. For example, we can have the find by username. We can have the add user into database, and we also have the find all information of the user, all the users information. And after this part is done, and we can change to, we can direct this web page into the login page. And right now we are using the request dispatch method. So also we can use another method, which is the send redirect method. These two methods has the difference. You can Google to get some more details about difference, but I want to mention that the first one you are using you only have one request and one response. But if you use the second one, it means that you should have a second response. So it creates a new response. Yeah, that's it. So this part is done, and next I want to show you login. So here we have the user and we have the password, and we go to the user login servlet. Okay. So because we need to use the method in the user dot, so we need to create a class, and then we can call the find by username. So here is another method to get the information from the web page. So you can call the request to get the parameter username. It can get the value of the username. You just type it in the text box, and after you find this user, and if the user's username is not known, and you can just call the login function. Let's see, here is the login function, and in the login function, so we can handle some exception if the user is not in the database, and also we can also handle some exception if the password is not right. Then in the request, we can also have some other functions. For example, the get section, and in the get section you can set some attribute for the first section, and then you can use this information to show some information in the front part. Then you can call the get request dispatcher to the main JSP. Let's go to the main JSP. Main JSP is a component of two parts. The first part is it uses the iframe tag to deploy the main pages into two parts. The first part is the top.jsp, and the second is the body.jsp. Let's go to the body.jsp. Then we can have the welcome to demo information. So just log in. And for the topper, see here, we can use the start the tag of the wing and choose, and you can, it's just like the uh, the win method if the section scope dot section user is empty, so we can go to this part, go to login and register JSP. But if the section user.us name is exists, and we can followed by the atom.jsp. So this is the why we need to set the attribute of the section user. And then we go to the atom.jsp. So where's atom.jsp? So in atom.jsp, we need to please list all the users in the table. And after we click the, since it's the it's a URL, and then if we click this part, it will go to the file, and based on the XM file, and we have the URL is file, and we can find the servlet class is user web servlet and find all. And here, and we create a user service object, and then we need to because we need to display all the information we retrieved from database, and we can assign a name is the user list, and then what's the value of the user list is the we can call the user service to find out. Let's go here, the service find out. So then if we want to have the user service dot find all method, and we need to return the user dot find all, because we need to separate the different tasks into different components. So the user dot class will handle all the database operations. So we call the user dot find all, and see here, and first we need to connect into database and run. Then we have the circle, and then we need to put all the information into the list, and then we need to return the list. And right now, how to show the output of the information, that also we need to use a for each tag, and the add term is the user list, and then we can assign its value is various users, and then we create a table, its row, its column, and we can integrate all the term in the user list, and we can also put the username and user email. So far, this is the whole process of the project demo, and hopefully you can have a better understanding of the web server application. So if you have more questions, you can email me, and we can discuss more. Thank you. So by the end, I want to show you that. So this is more important to familiar with the request and response object. I just list the request object. So in the request object, you should be familiar with these two methods. The first one is get parameter map, and second one is get parameter. And also you should be familiar with the get request dispatcher method and the send redirect method, and you can get more details about the difference between these two redirect method. It means that you can go to different URL if you want, and but also you need to get the reference of the response object to get the method you want to use in your project. That's all stuff. Thank you.